What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at Data Dash, and today is July 3rd of 2021. Well, folks, I hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are. And without further ado, I finally want to do what I feel is overdue here on the channel, and that is a full-scale, sweeping technical analysis of the ADA token, otherwise known as Cardano. And I not only want to spend some time to take a variety of different looks at the ADA token and get a real picture for where Cardano stands in the market, but outside of that as well, talk about probably the biggest macro factor that could help play into the chart patterns that we're seeing right now that could lead to a major breakout going into the late part of 2021 and into 2022. Let's go ahead and chat about it, guys. So I want to start here by actually looking at the chart that I think a lot of people aren't looking at. And ironically, if you guys have been fans of the channel for a while, you know that I don't tend to look at the US dollar chart because most cryptocurrencies during a bull market are going to further break away from their previous all-time highs. However, I have to say here that out of all the charts, the US dollar chart actually looks very interesting here, and it speaks to what Cardano is setting up for. Even though ADA in this case, or Cardano, has been able to get back up past the previous all-time highs back here in December 2017, what I find really fascinating is we had a multi-month consolidation period here from February to April, where we were able to actually hold, generally speaking, during the extended period range back here from December 2017. And not only did we hold there, but we had what we tend to have within these market cycles. And any given major breakout in the market or phase of the market, you tend to have two waves here. You have the first breakout wave, right? And in this case, we revisited those previous all-time highs for Cardano, had multiple months where we held that range. We didn't have really a substantial correction. We pulled back a little over 35% from the all-time highs here, came down here to this range, and then we bolstered it back up here to new all-time highs, having a secondary wave and more than doubling in price from the support range here. And what's really great is that, as it tends to be with most of these secondary waves or any kind of phase in the market, we have a collapse of the second wave where we come back down to the mid zone, the point between the rally to the first wave and the rally to the second wave here. So what's really interesting here is that in many cases, you can find it that price will come down and it'll start to edge itself down here towards the lower band here, when there's generally kind of a range for that midpoint. But what's really interesting is that as just this week, we came down here and visited this range, buyers are picking it up. And we did have a full-scale dip, to be completely fair, for Cardano, if we take a look here to the daily. But it got bought up very, very quickly. And any chance that we're coming back into this range, buyers are coming in, and it generally leads us to holding on this higher end of the range. Now, gotta say, this chart looks really good, and it shows me, in this general case, that over the next couple of weeks to the next 2 months, that there's going to be some kind of catalyst that's going to carry price higher. We're going to talk about that as we go throughout this conversation. But I want to go ahead and take a look at the next obvious chart. And then we've got some different ones that you perhaps might not be looking at. The next one here is ADA-BTC, right? We want to see that Cardano is generally outpacing Bitcoin. The whole thesis of this, just like with any other altcoin that we look at, and that's why we usually look at, the token tied to Bitcoin, is with this ratio, we want to see that it's outpacing Bitcoin, right? Why complicate things? Why invest in ADA if it's not outpacing Bitcoin? Well, it has, like a lot of altcoins here throughout 2021, it has been continuing to outpace against Bitcoin, and it's made a significant rally higher here, and over nearly off the lows in this case, around a 7-8x here to the current point where it's at, right? Now, what's really interesting here is you see this general pattern of almost kind of a complete kind of reversal of what we saw on the decline here during the bear market. And you all know I like to focus on, significant highs and significant lows. And what's really fascinating is after having a really, really solid period of time where we had this general consolidation period here from July of 2019 to almost June in this case of 2020, almost a full year of consolidation where smart money was accumulating, not buying any sizable volume on a single day, but slowly accumulating their positions. They're the ones that have really won out here. They've been buying during this period of time, back during the bear market, and now the supply has gotten dried up, and we're starting to see those significant higher highs and higher lows that are starting to almost kind of flip the pattern here we had. We're starting to make a full potential cup and handle where we might break back to those previous Bitcoin all-time highs, or people who bought back in December 2017 might be able to break even with their Bitcoin positions, right? Get up to this range. I'll go ahead and just use the Polyline tool as an example, where possibly this summer, right, we can start to build that official cup and handle formation, and then going through into the end of the year, right, into 2022, we can start to actually have a breakaway. Now, I think that this is kind of to be completely candid, I think this is an optimistic target, right, over these next couple months, especially seeing that we're going to take a couple months here in the market for crypto as a whole to get back up to those all-time highs. So this might not be exactly how fast we move, but it would be in line with the momentum we've seen. And it might be that ADA, and I don't know if I'm using the right analogy here, it might be per se a dark horse in this case. It might be one of the few kind of anomalies in the market, especially with Goggin, which we're going to talk about later. And I think I'm mispronouncing it, but you guys know, again, I have some catching up to do with ADA in this case on some of the fundamental developments, right? And going on here to ADA ETH, right? This is the more interesting chart. And we've talked a lot about ratios. In fact, I would like to say that we're probably one of the first few channels here in the space that talked about serious cryptocurrency ratios, comparing competitive protocols. Now, you guys know I'm a big ETH head, right? And the reason why is because right now, to be completely candid, ETH has had a front runner advantage. They do own the DeFi market in a lot of capacity. But as smart contracts do become live on the Cardano mainnet, right, as the slow rollout in this case starts to deploy some of those features, and the hopefully full rollout of Goggin comes out in August of 2021, that is going to change the game. And the price action in the market, albeit, yes, at the end of the day, guys, to be completely transparent, there's market makers, there's things that go on in the market to supply price to be the way that it is. You can't argue that. Look, like, you can complain about it all day. The ratio is looking really nice here. Smart money's watching this ratio, right? And you can see here that for the longest period of time here, throughout the bear market, and then also here in the early stages of the bull market in February, it was constant that we had a consistent resistance zone for 88 ETH. And many times we spoke about it in a bearish sense, saying, hey guys, here in July of 2020, we were looking at the ratio. This is consistent resistance. You're basically treading on thin ice, right? And a lot of people were hesitant and said, no, 80 is going to break through, Nick. This is the time. And we played very hesitant and conservative. And price action did come down. But we got the breakthrough here. And this is the first time that we had this since back here in December 2017. And even though we did come back down in price, and we didn't find clear exact support here, we did have a further sell-off here into May, buyers swiftly came in and pushed the ratio back up, clearly signifying this as new support over the past couple weeks. I will tell you guys, again, as someone who really doesn't have exposure to ADA right now, I'm thinking about possibly shifting some exposure if and when it makes sense here, right? As you can see here, we've got a good range of potential price gains if we do revisit the all-time highs against Ethereum, 163%. But not only that, I'm just going to put it aside, guys, in this case. The chart looks nice. The chart looks good, right? And I've constantly revisited this ratio every couple of weeks, right? I try to always come back and see, is it signifying the price action that I'd like to see to make a position? And this is a good price range over the next potential coming weeks or months. Now, I want to look at the chart that I think many people probably haven't looked at before we dive into the fundamental analysis, and that is market cap dominance in the market. ADA, again, is going to generally reflect its price action through its dominance, right? Because dominance here is taking the dollar market cap as a weight of the overall market. But I think what's really interesting here is, again, revisiting that similar pattern we talked about earlier, and it's so clear here. The contrasting relative highs to the downside and the contrasting relative highs back to the upside, almost mirroring, right? Not exactly, but almost mirroring this consistency of 3 significant lower highs on the downside and 3 significant highs on the upside. This is what we want to watch for a potential breakout to much higher levels here on the chart for Cardano. A serious first breakout here past the previous highs of December in 2017. And Cardano is one of those unique plays. It has a lot to live up to where it's going to have to do something like this. It's going to basically have to eventually break out here and now start to chart a new price territory like a lot of the other cryptocurrencies have already done, right? Cardano had a lot riding on it in 2017, and now it's time to finally start to see the materialization of that hard work. It really is, in my opinion, now or never, guys. Cardano's in the spotlight here. It's got a lot riding on it, and investors are waiting to see it. Now, one thing that I think is really interesting, and I do admire that the overall kind of roadmap here for Cardano is out in the public. You can tell over time, they usually had things more on a fixed timeline way back in the day. I've been following Cardano since 2017, but as time progressed, it seems like the team has gotten a little bit more kind of grounded in the sense of like, okay, let's not per se set hard dates. Let's focus more on some of the developments here and just kind of showcase every week or so some of the work that the team has been making. I have to be honest, as I've been reading through and as I'm continuing to see updates on Gauguin in this case, this is really exciting. It's nice to see that the team is continuously progressing, not just on one specific update, but a lot of different things in parallel and synchronization to get things out, hopefully as soon as possible, and to also just continue to build and improve on different various parts of Cardano. But the big thing here, speaking about hard dates and things to kind of watch for here, is what's expected to happen in August of 2021. The reason I say expected is because it previously had a plan to be launched in March, but has been obviously delayed, right? It still hasn't been launched. And that is, again, as I can only guess, I'm mispronouncing it, Gauguin in this case, which is one of the major focus points and elements of the overall Cardano roadmap, right, that has been set in stone for a long period of time. So with this potential launch in August, this is the perfect macro catalyst to leapfrog all of these charts, to get market dominance climbing up to higher single-digit territory, to get ADA ETH starting to build up for that next breakout to revisit those highs and maybe claim an even higher point in the ratio. This is probably the most conservative element here if we're just following the higher lows and higher highs. For ADA BTC to break out past its all-time highs and maybe claim and charter new all-time high territory, and also for the dollar chart to obviously start to charter much higher into possibly $3 up to $5 if we really get into the later stages of the bull market. So again, I don't want you guys to think that I'm an ADA or Cardano bear here, right? I think the price action looks really good, but if I'm looking to make those sizable positions, I want to see these smart contracts go live. That's my one gripe in this case, right? And the reason why is I shared the same kind of light when it came to Ethereum. The only reason I flipped bullish on Ethereum as an asset is because for the first time, I actually found real use case in the crypto space. I was able to trade on automated market makers and decentralized exchanges as a whole. I was able to earn interest on lending and borrowing protocols, borrow crypto with my crypto collateral. I was able to do so many different cool things, and I don't want to doubt that that can't come to Cardano. I believe it can. And I'm really excited to see the update hopefully go live here in April. So I'll continue to watch it, potentially building a position, perhaps early on, perhaps teetering on my rules there. And outside of that as well, building maybe even a more substantial position as Gauguin goes live. Because if Cardano really delivers on its promises and really meets to this vision, there's a reason the market's paying the premium it is at the moment. It's because people are anticipating a major potential competitor to Ethereum and other layer 1 protocols. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this update. If you guys liked it, please consider dropping a like. As always, it always means a lot. And if you guys are interested to get more macro analysis like this on the Data Dash channel, similar to what we cover here, you can always sign up for the Dash Report, where we cover a variety of different markets, from in-depth analysis on cryptocurrency markets to also diving into equity markets, commodities, forex, giving a whole macro analysis so you never miss a beat in the markets. If you guys want to support the channel, it's one of the best ways. But that being said, if you guys haven't already, consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.